So today I thought we'd take a look at this book, and this is called The Adventures of a Plastic Bottle, and it's a story about recycling. So on the back, on the blurb, it says, peek into this plastic bottle's diary as he writes all about his wild journey from the refinery, we'll learn about that, to the manufacturing line, to the store shelf, to a little boy's home, to the garbage, to the recycling plant, and finally into a spacesuit. My goodness, so a lot can happen to a plastic bottle. So here we go. And the story is by Alison and illustrated by Pete Whitehead. So author and illustrator. So this story begins at the beginning of the year, the first month of the year, January 1st. Dear Diary. Now, a diary is something somebody keeps, and they like to write in regularly to say what they've been up to. So if you were writing in your diary, you might write, Dear Diary, today I did my learning from the class blog and I went outside for a walk. I had some toast for breakfast and I ate some fruit. I played a game with my mummy or my brother, and I read a story and things like that. It just tells you in your diary, you say what you've done, and maybe you can share your thoughts. Sometimes you don't want to talk to other people about your thoughts, but you can share them with your diary. So if you're cross with someone, you could be like, I was very cross with my little sister today because she was stinky and she took away my toy. And maybe you don't want to share that with somebody in your family, but you can write it in your diary. So people like diaries because you can put all your private thoughts in them. Anyway, January the 1st. Dear Diary, do you ever get the feeling you were meant to do something? Right now, I'm a thick, oozing blob of crude oil deep underneath the ocean floor, and I've been here for thousands of years. So crude oil is something that naturally occurs. It's part of the natural world, just like plants growing and water being here are. And here it is, and it's right underneath. We can see the sea is just here, and then we've got the ocean floor here, okay, and it's got lots of layers to it. And then right underneath is the crude oil, okay, and crude just means that nothing has been done to it. It's just in its original state. So there we go, here's the oil. So the oil is thinking, I'm meant to do something. Of course, oil doesn't really think, but this is a story. So, but someday I could be made into fuel, like gasoline for cars or jets, or I could be made into tar and help build roads. Okay, so when you see tar on the roads, that's made from crude oil as well, and the gasoline that's used in cars and jets, planes, that's made from crude oil as well. A lot of things come from crude oil. I hear something cranking and clattering above. I better go check it out. So here we go. So this is an oil rig, and this is something that people make to drill down into the ground or into the seabed, go through the seabed to get to the crude oil, because people want to get to the crude oil because we can make so many things from it. So that's the oil rig drilling down to get to the crude oil. January the 2nd. Hi Diary, guess what that noise was? It was a huge drill. I was sucked through a long pipe. Look, so here we go, he's being sucked through a long pipe. Whoop. A long wide pipe and into the belly of a giant boat they call a tanker. So here we go, here's the tanker. Because the inside of the boat is specially designed to carry liquids like a big floating fish tank. Oh my goodness, right. The ship sailed for more than 1 week, and when it stopped, I was pumped into an oil refinery. Now I'll be put through machines that will clean me and change me into a form that people can use to make lots of things like gasoline, wax, oil, and plastic. Now, oil is a very tricky subject because when we drill down, we upset creatures who live in the ocean. We are removing something that naturally lives in a particular environment and taking it out. We then use it to make things like plastic, which isn't good for the environment, and fuel for our cars and our planes, which again, that pollutes the environment. And also we transport it in these giant tankers, which, as they say, they are designed for carrying liquids, but sometimes terrible things happen and the tankers leak, whether they crash into something or just something terrible happens to the boat. And then you have something called an oil spill, which is when the oil spills all over the ocean and then it covers the surface of the ocean in oil, and it will catch lots of sea creatures in the oil and they won't be able to breathe or come up to the surface, or they'll be get caught in it as they're trying to fish if they're birds, and a lot of creatures die like that, and it's very, very upsetting. We're going to learn some more about oil spills next term when we do a particular story where that happens in them. Yeah, so the whole process of taking oil and then what it turns into is a bit of a difficult one. It's not a very environmentally friendly thing to do overall. But we do turn it into useful things, you see, and this is why people want to do it so much. And this is why countries are so keen to have access to oil. So the oil is thinking, I wonder what's going to happen to me next, diary. What will I become? January the 13th. Dear diary, the oil refinery was amazing. So the refinery is where the oil is changed into different substances, different things. It whirred, it rumbled, it bubbled. I went through a lot of changes. I got so hot that I just about disappeared when I turned into a light, misty gas. And just when things cooled down and I felt heavy again, it got hot and the whole thing started all over. The changes I went through were called polymerization. My goodness, that is a big word, isn't it? So here we go. This is where it starts. We start with the crude oil going in here. Oh, there we go, getting hot. Okay, and then at different temperatures and different levels, different things are made. So we've got asphalt for making, that's something that we put on the ground. Then we've got heating oil, wax polish, diesel fuel, that goes in cars, jet fuel, those are for the planes, auto fuel, again, cars, diesel and auto fuel, very similar but not quite the same. And then gas, these are used for different things. Okay, so lots of different things there. Before I knew it, I had become a pile of plastic crumbs. Here we go, we're coming out of here. Naphtha, here. Plastic crumbs. Some of the other crude oil that I travelled with was turned into a paste, some into a thick, clear liquid, and some became a powder. But we all have one thing in common. We're ready to be modelled into a new shape, because plastic is really good at being modelled into a shape. Hey, dear diary, did you know that plastic comes from the Greek word plastikos? It means easy to mould or shape. Lots of our words in our language come from other languages. And this is a little Greek statue here going, highly fascinating. January 29th. Hi diary, guess what? I was sent to a manufacturing plant and they heated me until all my little crumbs got nice and squishy. While I was still warm, a machine squeezed me into a mould shaped like a bottle. Okay, so here we go. It was squeezed into, so he's all warm and squishy, and then squeezed into this mould. And see, you can see all of him being filled into this space here. That's the mould, okay? When I cooled off, I was a beautiful, clear plastic bottle. For real. So there we go. Whoosh, cooling off, and now he's a bottle, plastic bottle, just like you buy in the shops. I felt so light and sturdy as I tumbled into a bin with lots of other bottles. As many as 10 million plastic bottles can be made in one day. That's a lot of bottles going out to see the world and never coming back. There he is jumping off. He's going, cowabunga! He's obviously very excited. Ooh. January 30th. Hi-ho, diary. Today was so fun. Being a bottle is great. I was clipped into a bottling line. Here we go. Whee! I flew down the line. Whoosh! And went round and round and up and down. Along the way, I was washed and sterilised. That's like making it super clean. Then I was filled with fresh water. I even got a spiffy label. So there he is being really cleaned and then filled with water. And then here's his label, H2O. That means water. They're putting all of us bottles into boxes now. I can hardly wait to see the rest of the world. More adventure awaits me. Okay, so I'm going to pause that story there and we are going to listen to the rest of it next week. But I would like you to see if you can find out, well, I'm imagining you can guess what happens to the bottle straight away after this. But what happens once a bottle has been to the shop and been used once? Because these are disposable bottles. They're not the kind that you buy to use and again and again and again, unfortunately. But what could happen to a bottle once it's been used? There are lots of things that could happen to it. So I want you to try and find out some of the things that could happen to a plastic bottle like this once it has been used for its original purpose. The water has all been drunk. What are we going to do with the bottle now? So that's my question to you. Okay. Bye for now.